Hey, Shabbat Shalom, brothers and sisters. Welcome back. I thank you again for joining me today. Now, today on this program, I have, I don't know how you say this, I have a different agenda. This is about recipes for days of the unleavened bread, the feast days. I usually do other things, but I come across a booklet here, and I don't know. I don't know what who published it, who wrote it, anything like this. If you guys know this, let me know. I just got this. It has no affiliation to churches. It has no affiliation with an author, anything like that. But I thought it'd be interesting, and I wanted to share it with you because it looks good, and I'm an eater. I like to eat, and yes, it says recipes for the days of unleavened bread. So this is going to be, how you say it? It's going to be like a 3 or 4 part thing. So please get out notebooks and pens and everything and jot this down. These are recipes. And they do look good, so bear with me on this when I read this to you. And I'm going to start right now. Okay, we're going to start off with breads, unleavened bread. We're going to start off with breads. And right here it says whole wheat flatbread. Okay, you're going to need 2 cups of whole wheat pastry flour, 1 1/2 teaspoon salt, 3 tablespoons of butter, 2 eggs, 2 egg yolks, 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, and 7/8 cups of milk or water. And here's what this says. Sift flour, then add salt. Cut the butter into flour mixture like making pastry. In another bowl, beat egg yolks, adding oil slowly. Pour this mixture into flour and stir with spoon or fork until it forms a ball of dough that comes away from the side of the bowl. Knead lightly on the floured board for about a minute to shape dough into soft ball. Lightly flour the board again. Pinch off about 1/3 cupful of dough, and with the hands pat it as thin as can easily be done. Then roll it thinner with a rolling pin. Keep working the dough and rolling it until dough is so thin that it just holds together without breaking when handled. Place rolled dough on ungreased baking sheet and mark into squares of any desired size with a knife. If it is to be used for Passover service, make only 1 cut across the middle to make pieces only small enough that they may be conveniently carried. Bake in preheated oven 390 to 400 degrees for 8 minutes to 12 minutes until puffed or very lightly browned. If this bread is to be used for Passover service, use water instead of milk and leave out the egg yolks. Increase water to 1 cup, mix with oil, and add to butter flour mixture. It says here in parentheses, this recipe is significant for about 500 people in the Passover service. So we got that right there. Now we're going to talk about flatbread here. Flatbread. You're going to need 2 cups of whole wheat flour, 1.5 cups of yellow cornmeal, 1/2 teaspoons salt, 4 tablespoons of butter, and 2/3 2/3 cups of warm water. And it says here, sift flour, cornmeal, and salt together. Cut in butter and mix until crumbly. Stir in warm water and chill. Roll chilled dough into balls the size of large marbles. Roll out into paper-thin rounds, 4-inch in diameter. Bake on an ungreased cookie sheet at 375 degrees for 5 minutes or until lightly browned. Cool and store in a tightly sealed container. This dough may be wrapped in waxed paper and kept in the refrigerator to be baked as needed. Okay, we got that. Now we got unleavened bread here. For unleavened bread right here, you need 3 cups of flour, 3 large eggs, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of oil or butter, and 1/2 cup of water or milk. It says here, combine flour and salt, combine eggs and oil, beat, then add egg mixture to flour, add milk, beat hard for 2 to 3 minutes, pour into 3 8-inch square grease pans, bake at 450 degrees for 20 minutes. Okay, now here's the second unleavened bread, the second recipe. It's 3/4 cups of scalded milk, 1/4 cup of honey, 1/4 cup of butter, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 egg, 2 1/4 cup of flour. And description here says, beat egg and first 4 ingredients together while gradually adding the flour. Knead smooth. Roll into 1/4 inch thickness. Cut in rounds and squares. Pick with a fork. Place on baking sheet. Bake at 375 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. Now I'm going to go to the unleavened bread. There's a number 3 here, another recipe. 5 cups of flour, 1.5 cups of cream, 1 cup oil, or 1.5 cups of butter and 1.5 cups of oil. You're going to also need 4 tablespoons of sugar or honey, 1 cup of milk, 1 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And right here it says mix dry ingredients, melt butter and blend with oil, milk, and cream. Stir liquid into dry ingredients. Knead well. Roll out on floured board. Cut and place on ungreased cookie sheet. Bake at 375 degrees until lightly browned. So we got that there. Now here's something, an almond bread, and here's what you need: 4 eggs, 1 cup of sugar, 3/4 cup of oil or butter, 3 cups of flour, 1 small bag slivered almonds, 1 teaspoon of almond extract. Okay, it says mix sugar, eggs, and 1 cup of flour. Add oil or butter. Add remaining ingredients. Pour into 2 bread pans. Bake at 350 degrees for 30 minutes. Remove your pans. Slice as needed. So that does sound delicious. Get to this little one here. It's cheese bread. You need 1.5 pounds of Longhorn cheese, 1.5 pound of Jack cheese, 1 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 3 eggs, 1 1/3 of a cup of milk, 1/2 cup of butter melted. And right here it says, grate cheese, mix all ingredients and pour into grease pan. Bake at 350 degrees for 45 minutes. And now we'll go to the unleavened bread, unleavened batter bread. See what it says here. A kind of unleavened bread that can be made in heavy iron cornstick pans or gem pans. Gems are kind of small muffins. The oven is set at 425 and the iron pans are placed in it to the heat while the batter is being made. Before batter is placed in pans, butter the pans with a pastry brush. Salad oil is a tendency that make a bread stick. Butter or shortening is preferable. Okay, now we're going to go to the whole wheat or graham gems. You know what gems are, we just explained that. Here's what you need. 2 cups of whole wheat or graham flour, 3/4 of 1 teaspoon salt, 2 teaspoons of sugar, 1 egg, and 1 1/2 cups of cold milk. It says here, mix flour, salt, and sugar, beat egg well, add milk and stir well, add flour to 3 additions, beating vigorously after each one. Fill sizzling hot buttered iron gems or cornstick pans and bake for 20 to 30 minutes in at 325 degrees in the oven. Now we're going to go to the cornmeal gems, and here's what you need. 2 cups of yellow cornmeal, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons brown sugar, 2 cups of milk scalded, 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 eggs well beaten. Mix cornmeal, salt, and sugar together and stir in hot scalded milk. Add butter and cool until eggs will not be cooked as they are stirred in. Add beaten eggs and fill buttered muffins pans 2/3 full. Bake at 400 degrees in the oven for about 30 minutes. Okay, now we'll go to the spoon bread. I've never heard of the spoon bread, but it does sound a little delicious here. 1 cups of cornmeal, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 2 cups of boiling water, 2 cups of butter, 4 eggs beaten, preferably, 1 cup of cold milk, and it says here preheat oven to 450 degrees. Combine cornmeal, salt, and 2 cups of boiling water. Stir for a minute, remove from heat. Add butter, beat well. Add eggs and cold milk, and pour into buttered baking dish. Bake it for 25 minutes. Okay. Now, got fruit nut bread. And for that, you're going to need a third cup of butter, 1 1/2 cups of whole wheat flour, 1/4 of a teaspoon salt, 1 cup of mashed bananas, 2/3 of cups of honey, 1/3 cup of orange juice, 1 egg beaten, 2 cups quick oats, 1/4 cups of chopped nuts, 1/4 of cups chopped dates, 1/4 cup chopped dried apricots, 1/4 cups of raisins. Now, it says here, melt butter and set aside to cool. Mix flour and salt. Add banana, honey, orange juice, egg, and butter. Blend just until flour is dampened. Stir in hot oats and all the rest of the ingredients. Pour into well-greased 9-inch by 5-inch by 3-inch loaf pan. Bake about 350 degrees for about 50 minutes. Cool in pan for 10 minutes. Remove from the pan and finish cooling on rack. For easy slicing, wrap in foil and store overnight. So we got that there. Yeah, we got that there. And next here, this is making me hungry, pretty much hungry, really. Yeah, I can't help it, but yeah, it's making me hungry here. Let's see. Now we're gonna go to strudel stretch dough. Says here 3 cups of sifted flour, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 cup of lukewarm water, 2 eggs, 2 tablespoons of salad oil, any fruit filling. It says here, sift together flour and salt, combine eggs, oil, and water, then work them into the flour, mixing until the dough leaves the side of the bowl. Knead the dough for about 10 minutes or until smooth. Place a warm bowl over it and leave it stand for about 20 minutes. Cover a large working surface with a clean tablecloth. Sprinkle the cloth with flour and roll out dough as thin as possible. Now begin the stretching process. Flour knuckles of your hands, form hands into a fist and place them under the pastry. Carefully and gently pull the dough toward you with the back of your hands. Stretch from all directions until dough is transparent. Cut away any thick edges. Brush with oil and melted shortening. Place filling down the length of one side about 2 inches to form in form of edge. Turn this 2-inch flap over the filing and lift the cloth to continue to roll the dough over and over from the edge. Cut the rolled strudel down the middle into 2 loaves. Place the loaves on a heavily greased baking pan. Brush the tops with oil and bake in about 400 degrees in the oven for about 35 minutes or until they are crisp and brown. Cut into slices. Each strudel will yield about 20 slices. So we got that right there. Now we're going to go to the flour tortillas. You're going to need 4 cups of flour, 1/4 cups of shortening, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1.5 cups of lukewarm water. Seems simple to me. Cut shortening into flour salt mixture until size of peas. Add water. Knead. Let rest 10 minutes. Form into 2-inch balls. Roll into a 1/4 inch thick. Use a heavy skillet or griddle, ungreased and very hot. Turn tortilla 3 times, and it should be done when small dark brown spots speckle the bread. Okay. Now we got corn lace rounds here. You're going to need 1.5 cups of boiling water, 1.5 teaspoons of salt or scant, 1.5 cups of cornmeal, 2 eggs, white. It says right here, mix first 3 ingredients, cool and fold in the stiffly beaten white eggs. Drop by teaspoon onto greased baking sheet and bake in 350 degrees in the oven about 30 minutes. Makes about 14 small cakes. These tablespoons of Sauteed and crumbled dried beef gives variation. Okay, now we'll go to the next one here, unleavened biscuits. Everybody loves biscuits, of course. Now you're going to need 1 cup of flour sifted, 1½ cup cornmeal, 1½ teaspoons of salt, 4 tablespoons of shortening, 1 egg, and 1 milk. It says here, mix all together, adding enough milk to make a medium stiff dough. Roll out about 1/4 of an inch thick. Cut out. Place on a slightly greased pan. Oil the tops. Bake about 8 minutes in a preheated oven of 425 degrees. Now we got hush puppies. Oh, those hush puppies. You're going to need 1 large onion. Ooh, I don't like onions. Ooh. 1 cup of oatmeal, 1 cup of flour, 2 eggs, 1/2 teaspoon salt, 4 tablespoons of sugar, 4 tablespoons of cooking oil. And it says here, mix ingredients and drop by teaspoonful into hot oil. It says drain well. And now, go to the last one here. Beaten biscuits. You're going to need 3 cups of flour sifted, 1 teaspoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 3 tablespoons of butter, 1 tablespoon of oil, 1/2 to 7/8 cup of water or milk. And it says here, sift flour, sugar, and salt together. Cream butter, slowly adding oil. Add this mixture to flour and work with hands. Add just enough milk to make a very stiff dough. Turn dough into a barely floured surface and knead it into a small ball. Then take a wooden rolling pin or a wooden potato masher and beat the dough for about 20 to 25 minutes, stopping frequently to fold the edge under toward the center of the dough. No, what it is, you need to take a rest, because if you're doing that for 25 minutes, it's gonna knock you out. That's a workout. That is a Jane Fonda workout right there. But anyways, when dough blisters and snaps on being pulled, roll about 1/2 inch thickness, cut with a small biscuit cutter. Prick the tops once with a fork and place on a greased panning sheet. Place in about 350 degrees oven and bake 10 minutes. Says here, then, I don't know if there's a then. Yeah, it's page sticking. Increase to 375 degrees and bake 15 to 20 minutes longer. They should be very lightly browned and then usually only on the bottom. If you do not wish to beat the dough, another method is to run the dough through a meat chopper or food grinder using the coarse blade. Do this 4 or 5 times or until dough feels elastic. Knead is just until smooth before rolling out. So you got that here. Anyways, I could give you more. I give you a couple more recipes, if you want. Well, why not? I mean, this is going to be a 3 or 4 part series. So, yeah, I got a couple more I'm going to give you. This is called quick mayonnaise biscuits. I never heard of this, but for this quick mayonnaise breakfast or biscuits, you need 2 cups of sifted flour, 1/3 cup of mayonnaise, 3/4 of cups of milk, 1/3 cup of sharp cheddar cheese, which shredded, of course, 2 tablespoons of onions minced, and it says here, mix together flour, mayonnaise, and milk until well blended. Add cheese and onion. Drop by tablespoon onto greased cookie pan, a sheet. Bake at 350 degrees for 10 minutes until lightly browned. Okay. Now, we'll go to things, says biscuits right here. Add 4 cups of flour, 1/4 cups of shortening, 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt, buttermilk to form dough. It says here, knead dough until well mixed, pinch off ball and roll, flatten and pan, brush lightly with shortening or butter. Bake 400 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. Okay. Now, next one we're going to go to, I know you're thinking this is never going to end, but yummy, yummy, but this is cheese biscuits. Okay, cheese biscuits here, you need 2 cups of sifted unbleached flour, 1 pound of sharp cheese grated, 1 1/2 pound of margarine or butter, 1 teaspoon of, cayenne pepper, Chynenne. I never heard. I mean, I probably ate that before, but I don't know. Okay, here's what it says: sift dry ingredients and cut in butter. Add cheese and form into small balls. Place on cookie sheet and bake at 400 degrees for 10 minutes or until golden brown. Okay. Now here's another one. German pancakes. German pancakes. Oh. If you're interested in German pancakes, okay, here we go. You need 4 eggs, 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt, 2/3 a cup of milk, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 2/3 a cup of sifted flour, 2 tablespoons of soft butter. And it says here, heat oven at 400 degrees, butter well at 9-inch cake pans. Beat eggs until lightly brown. I always thought beating them was black and blue, but lightly brown. Add remaining ingredients. Beat until smooth. Pour into pans and bake for 20 minutes. Then reduce the heat to 350 degrees and bake 10 minutes. Slide onto hot plates. Serve with lemon slices, powdered sugar and butter, syrup, jelly, honey, etc. Yield 2 9-inch pancakes. Okay, now we'll go to sour cream pancakes. 3 eggs, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, 1 cup of sour cream, and 6 tablespoons of matzo meal. Beat eggs. Blend all ingredients. Drop by tablespoon into greased skillet. Brown on both sides. Okay. Now we're getting to the last one here. And this is the last for this part 1. But anyways, this is called Swedish pancakes. And ingredients you need is 3 eggs, 1 1/2 cups of milk, 1 cup of flour, 1 1/2 teaspoon of salt, oil for frying. And it says right here, mix all but oil with hand beater until well blended. Prepare large frying pan by heating to medium hot. Put about 1 teaspoon of oil into skillet, enough to cover the bottom. Pour 3/4 ladle of batter into pan and tilt pan immediately so it covers bottom completely. When it appears dry on top, turn over. Remove and serve the rolled or folded spread with butter and maple syrup, or roll with strawberries and top with whipped cream. That does sound good. Oh yes, that really sounds good. But yes, for that, that looks good, and I just got this book, and I'm going to actually try them recipes out because it does taste good and sound good and everything else. I mean, the words taste good, but anyways, that's part 1. I'm going to come back with a couple more recipes here and there. I don't know if it's going to be 2 parts, 3 parts, or 4 parts, but man, that's really pretty good. And anyways, thank you again for joining me. I really do, and I'll be back to share some more of these recipes with you, and I am going to try them out because I do like to cook and I definitely like to eat. But anyways, please give me a big thumbs up, hit that notification bell, and also subscribe. I really would appreciate that. And again, I thank you. I thank all of you for tuning in. Until we meet again, brothers and sisters, peace out and shalom.